If you want to know how to tell if or when a relationship is dysfunctional so you can avoid being in a toxic one, stick around. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I am Portia, the communicator, your certified mental health life coach for all things life and love. I want to give a special shout out to all of the new subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. And if anything I say in this video resonates with you, if you're new, please give it a thumbs up, share the content if you know it'll be beneficial to someone else, and join the conversation in the comments. All right, so to quickly dive in, we are going to be discussing in this video how to tell if or when a relationship is dysfunctional so that you can avoid being in a toxic dynamic with someone. But before we get into that, I do want to say this. In order to avoid a toxic relationship, you have to know what some of the preliminary signs are first. And then you got to start paying attention to patterns. And then when you see stuff starting to happen more than once or twice, that's when you know you gotta cut it off. And you wanna do this before you get too emotionally invested. That is the easiest way to avoid getting reeled into something toxic. You wanna be very observant and emotionally detached in a sense so that you don't end up getting sucked into something to your detriment. So the first thing is constant arguments or breakdowns. And it's for the biggest and the smallest things. Sometimes it can happen in a really lighthearted, just banter kind of way. And it can start cute, nothing major. But if a dynamic has the potential of being very toxic and combative, you will find that even the smallest examples of that can spiral into something bigger and completely unnecessary. And the reason why is because people don't know how to communicate. So people will say things in a passive aggressive, joking manner. But you know the saying underneath every joke is a line of truth, is a tone of reality. For some, all people know is to yell to get their point across. So constant breakdowns come by way of, again, not knowing how to communicate, not feeling understood. And so now we've got to threaten and manipulate people into siding with us and all those things, or stonewalling people and not saying anything at all. And even worse, gaslighting people, which is, oh my God, it's the absolute worst. But this is a huge telltale sign. This is a typical element of a relationship dynamic being dysfunctional and on its way to full out toxicity. The second way that you can tell something is dysfunctional or has the potential of being toxic is vindictive behavior. Someone cheats and then the other person cheats to get back at them. You stonewall and you don't want to talk. Now they stonewall. They don't want to talk. You do something they don't like and you may not have even been aware of it. And now they're doing something they know you don't like. I mean, it's a classic case of monkey see, monkey do, tit for tat. You hit me, I hit you, that type of thing. And it's all about getting even. So now you're not on the same team. You're on opposite side of the fences. And instead of being friends, partners, lovers, etc., you're now opponents, riding in the same car, claiming to go the same direction, but you're constantly at odds with one another. That is dysfunctional when you're not choosing to get off the train and go different directions. Like, why are you still in the same boat together? Because you're clearly not on the same page. And I say it's dysfunctional because you've taken something abnormal, something toxic, and made it just the thing that you do. This is just how we function. This is just how we get along. And I'm sorry, but that is classic dysfunctionality in a relationship. And it is leading to a path of full-blown toxicity that you want to avoid. Because when you don't end a relationship dynamic that shows those signs, it can lead to the third thing, which is highly dangerous. And that is verbal and physical abuse. You don't do what someone likes. They have something to say about it or something to do about it. So now they're slashing tires and breaking windows. Now they're pushing and shoving and hitting. Now they're calling people out of their name. All of those things. that is not dysfunctional. That is abusive and highly toxic. And it needs no further introduction or explanation. But unfortunately, when you're in a cycle of dysfunction, you will tend to end up in a cycle, and this leads to the fourth thing, of constant breaking up and getting back together. It's going back to an ex in a relationship that was completely volatile. And you'll know that it's been a dysfunctional or a toxic situation because you are yet looking for love in the place you lost it. You were happy and then you weren't. And now you're trying to find that happiness again and then you don't. And then you try to do it again and then it doesn't happen. Look at the constant fluctuation and emotional and mental roller coasters that you may find yourself in or putting yourself through. These are high signs that the situation you're in is either dysfunctional and or toxic, and you need to leave it alone. Now, a bonus way that you can tell something is dysfunctional and has the potential for toxicity is when too many people, specifically family members and close friends, are involved in your relationship. So that means everything that goes on between you and your partner, your mama knows about it, or their mother knows about it, or whoever the case may be. That is dysfunctional in a sense because it's saying that you two cannot stand on your own 2 feet within the confines of your relationship. You don't have the strength, you don't have the foundation, you don't have the wisdom. And sometimes that's okay if you're trying to learn how to get a certain place. But if people just have a sheer lack of boundaries for you and your partnership, and they just interject themselves at your demise, that means they're calling at all hours. They're saying whatever they want to you or your partner without any regard for how it makes you feel. All of that stuff is very dysfunctional, and it can lead to full out toxicity because then at that stage, it's mess, it's drama, it's gossip, it's oh, I saw him out last night with such and such, but he told me he was going X, Y. It's all of that stuff, which again is negative. It's toxic. And so just be mindful of people interjecting themselves into your personal relationship affairs without permission. That's a telltale sign of dysfunction and the potential for toxicity. Now, let's talk about how to avoid, because sometimes when you're in these situations and you're caught up in the moment and it's like, oh snap, I didn't realize this is what that was. It can be a little bit easier said than done when it comes to avoiding or getting out of a situation. So let's briefly discuss that. When it comes to something that is abusive, verbally, mentally, physically, emotionally, I am here to tell you that this is not a conversation that you can work out. This is not a let's compromise. No, none of that is an option because at this point, this person that you're with is not open to any type of quick resolve. They're probably not even able to have a quick resolve in a situation like that because whenever someone is turned to abuse, it's a long time to first acknowledge, to then apologize, and then to work on themselves. That stuff doesn't just happen overnight. And so what I will say in those situations is you need to quietly and quickly exit the scene stage left. Period.com. That means we're not trying to work anything out. That means I'm not trying to express my point of view to get you to see how I feel. No, none of that. When someone has put their hands on you, when someone has called you out of your name, when someone continues to gaslight you and they are committed to misunderstanding you or putting you down, no. They are showing you their repetitive character and their beingness, and they are not in the business of trying to change for you. And let me also be clear. You, myself included, by you I do mean we do not have the jurisdiction to change anyone. And so if you think that by talking something out or by doing some other passive aggressive behavior or something vindictive to get back at that person, that that's going to work, I am here to tell you It may affect them, but it's not guaranteed to change them. And more importantly, your safety comes first. It comes first. And so you have to put yourself in the position of safety and security for self. And that means leaving. I have done this transparent moment in times past prior to meeting my husband when I was in the most toxic and volatile relationship in my life. I have had to make the executive decision to call a mover while this individual was at work to get all of my things removed between a short window of time. No announcements made, no conversations had. That person showed back up after work and they were in a tizzy because I had left the building. I was nowhere to be found. I was on my way out the country, in fact. And so sometimes you have to be strategic about what you're doing because you don't want that person to then take it upon themselves to do anything else that would be greater or worse than what they've already done. Now, in situations that are less severe, you can provide some distance from that individual and communicate why, and leave the ball in their court to see how they'll respond and to see if they're willing to do anything about it. I always recommend if someone wants to work on an issue within themselves or within a relationship, go and get counseling. Go seek therapy. That to me is the only way to move forward in a dysfunctional relationship. So that means having a conversation with them. That means pulling back your energy. That means preoccupying yourself with other things that are going to be in alignment with your joy, with your peace, with your wellness, with your happiness. And then if you've communicated and you've made your actions speak louder than words to show that person, listen, you're not here for a toxic dynamic, and they're still unwilling to do the work and change the situation, then that's when you can have a final, very small conversation about ending things completely. Because at this point, you've already said what you needed to say. You've already shown that you're not going to stick around and go along for the circus ride. That can be however you choose, whether that's in person, face to face, or via text, which I'm never usually a fan of having to send things out via text message, but do whatever aligns with your spirit, what aligns with your safety first, and cut it off. Let it be done because you've already done and said all the things that you need to. Now, of course, I want to hear from you. Are there any other ways that you can tell a relationship is dysfunctional and or potentially toxic? If so, let me know in the comments. And also, if there's anything I've said in this video that has hit home for you, give this video a thumbs up, share the content with someone else who you know it can be beneficial for, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Lastly, if you want to learn how to come out of toxic and negative dysfunctional relationship cycles and into the partnership of love that you desire and deserve, I have a program titled Rewire for Love that is designed to take you from point A to point Z. It has worked in my life and in the lives of the women that I am coaching. Book a free consultation call with me today. The link for that is in the description box beneath this video. And let's talk about how to get your transformation jump started immediately. All right, well, that is all I have for this video. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, peace and blessings, and bye for now.